Hey guys, hope you're well. Back in my hometown of New York City to cover the Diddy trial. I didn't know if I could attend or if I could get in, but luckily I was able to get in. And I know some people in my audience said I should try to cover this, so even though I'm behind the ball and a lot of other YouTubers have been covering this longer than I have, check out That Girl Henny, who has some really good info about the case, who I got to meet, but I can still give a good rundown. We're on our lunch break, so I should have a part 2 for you in about 3 to 4 hours. That would be my guess. But if you guys are a fan of mine, or if you're just paying attention to the Diddy trial and want a kind of interesting rundown, and to see, not only give a rundown of what happened as everybody else is doing, but also let's try to analyze to see whose case might stick. Is the prosecution, do their efforts seem to be more successful? Is it the defense whose efforts seem to be perhaps more successful at the end? So it's some interesting tidbits to analyze. What happened today is that there was Special Agent Penley, and she is essentially an expert witness. When you get a certain amount of witnesses in, most of them will confirm events, confirm things that happened because they were there, because they were a direct witness. An expert witness can essentially talk about authentication, might have an expertise in a way a gun goes off in a murder trial, for example. So it's a very different type of witness. But obviously it shows that the prosecutors feel that they have a lot of really damning evidence. And the crux to prove their case is simply authenticating that all of these text messages that the prosecuting team was able to collect are in fact valid. And then what happened after the special agent was on the stand with the prosecuting team, she was on the stand with the defense team. The defense team essentially tried to say there was one incident in 2012 in July where there was a third person involved, and a third person making text messages with Cassie and Mr. Combs, and that he was not included. So it's a bit of a stretch. So that might not be valid. And there were some other dates that a witness gave testimony on, that there was a date of abuse that happened that didn't correspond with the chart that was brought up by the prosecution, the chart that showed various phone calls, various expenditures. So I think they're kind of grasping at straws to try to indicate that all of these are fabricated or forged or irresponsibly gathered. But remember, the defense could say if one little bit of information was inaccurately gathered, then you have to throw out the entire testimony. You have to throw out everything the witnesses say, because the chart, again, the chart that has the text of the text messages as well as various expenditures, they would say all of that chart, and therefore all the information gleaned from that chart, is entirely valid. So it's a bit of a desperate attempt, I would say. I don't think it's going to work, but that is the case that they're trying to make, that there were some inaccuracies on a few specific dates. This is going from 2009, I think at least until 2019, so it's a long duration. But that's the argument that they're making. Within this, of course, the prosecuting team was eager to highlight key moments, key text messages that really do prove Mr. Combs' guilt. So one of them, Cassie sends an exact text message to Combs saying, "I have a fat lip and a black eye. You can't pretend to be a good person and do that." And Combs continued to reply, and implicitly, even though he didn't say I did it, he didn't deny it. So already you have a text message exchange of Cassie with pictures saying that she has a fat lip and a black eye, and Combs not going out of his way to deny it. So that's very bad. Now, when this special agent was on the stands with the prosecutors, in addition to the prosecutors trying to disprove that this information was gathered effectively, at the same time, they're also asking the expert witness to read out a specific text message where Cassie essentially seems to be endorsing Combs' overtures and seems to be endorsing a relationship. Remember, that's the whole argument of the defense, right? It was a mutual thing. We've seen this in other sexual abuse cases. It doesn't really hold a lot of water because once you prove coercion, once you prove a continuous pattern, once you prove exerting power and influence where it could diminish your income or diminish your security or diminish your life perhaps, it's a much harder argument to make that even though via text message aspects might indicate that this is a consensual situation, it's a lot deeper when you're looking at sexual abuse, when you're looking at sexual trafficking, right? There's a lot of other things that it doesn't matter if somebody says, I enjoyed that. Because she does say that she can't wait, and this is the quote to Diddy, that she could not wait to see Diddy's big black dick. So she did say that, and she did say when Diddy asked her, are you ready for the next freak op? She said, sure, I can't wait, I'm excited. So it had to be read out loud, and the prosecutors got the expert witness to read that aspect aloud. So you can see them, even though we're so far into the trial, you can still see them trying to build a case slowly. And this isn't really over yet, even though there's probably only 1 week left. After this, there'd be another week left of the trial, but you can really see the efforts that the prosecutors are trying to move forth with, and that doesn't seem very effective. Another thing that the defense is trying to move forth with. Another things that the prosecutors noted, which was kind of amusing, is they kept going over all these charges. And there are these expensive stays at all these various expensive hotels in New York and Los Angeles. Accompanying each stay was a minimum of $600 charges for damages, most frequently damages to the carpet, to the drapes, and to the sheets. Unfortunately, they did not say what damaged those carpets, drapes, and sheets, but I'm sure you can imagine what the baby oil culprit might be. Who knows? But it happened at least 5 times. One was damages of $500, another one was $1,400, another one was $1,000, another one was about, I think, $1,800, and another one about $500 as well. So wherever Diddy goes, he keeps damaging his hotel rooms. The guy's like a rock star, I guess. And deep clean, yeah, a lot of damages for deep clean, stuff like that. And I think that's essentially the crux of what's been happening now. Not a ton of situations. There's also a new figure involved, Eddie Garcia, who facilitated a lot of things. But again, the defense is really going to try to prove, because of one specific incident where a witness gave a different date than what was corresponded with on the chart that the prosecutors gave, because of that, and because of another incident where 3 people are involved and there are 3 people texting, and the chart only reflects Cassie and Combs and not the third person, the defense is again going to try to throw all of that out. I think it's a desperate measure. I don't think it's going to work. I think one minor faux pas, you could try to say that one minor faux pas delegitimizes the entire case, but I don't think that's going to be the situation, because you might have forgotten to include somebody, but ultimately the information is accurate, right? So, a clerical error, some might consider that simply a clerical error. Obviously, defense would consider that a much deeper error. So we'll see what happens with that. But ultimately, even if there was some foibles on what the witnesses said versus what was in the chart, and not including that third person, it really doesn't negate the truth of the content of the text messages. And most of what the prosecutors are saying, they have all this evidence to back them up. I'm starting to feel like they feel this is a slam dunk case. And I really do feel like the defense is essentially grasping at straws, saying, how could we throw out this entire thing? Because if we use the evidence that's in court now, our client is a total goner. So we have to try to declare a mistrial or something like that, or at least throw out every bit of text message evidence. And of course, once you take that out, the skeleton of the case is entirely missing. But I think that's a shot in the dark. So this has only been 2 hours, so I hope you guys like it. Let me know if you want me to cover hour 2. I think I will, or session 2. And if you guys do like this, I will be here every single day until the trial ends. This is kind of interesting to experiment with a high-profile trial like this. Haven't done it before. I did a lot of I've been fighting against the Church of Scientology, for those who might be new. Who knows how many views this is going to get. And I've covered a lot of trials against them getting restraining orders against protesters, a lot more low profile. So this is kind of an interesting, different animal, but fun to be there. And I know there are a lot of other sources. Again, your girl Henny, I met her. She's pretty awesome, so check out her material as well. But I know there's some other sources you can check out, but hopefully you get something out of it. And if you like me to continue reporting on this, please do let me know. And another thing I'm going to do is, once the case starts getting more interesting, is I'm going to try to do my best to write a transcript. This situation, that the back and forth was largely inconsequential, so don't think I need to do that, but in the second session I may very well do that. So that might be interesting to watch me, where I'll really be doing my best to transcribe it. Won't be doing it perfectly, but I'll be able to compound words, compound sentences, and have some training in being able to do that, where you get the gist and you get the truth of what they're saying, even if not the exact words. So you'll see some more direct transcriptions, which might be unique, and hope you guys subscribe if you're not already, and I hope you keep watching. You take care. Bye-bye.